Hey guys, as always, look, I love to keep these short and sweet because I know you've got a lot going on and it's always a Monday morning and busy stuff happening. But I want to tell you guys a story. So several years ago, I was still a fairly new agent when I opened up my own brokerage. I'd been a real estate agent for about, I'm actually embarrassed to say this now. I got lucky and it all worked out, but I'd been a real estate agent for about 1 year when I opened up my own company. We hired a broker. She was a great partner, and we started the company, and then we started training and teaching and doing all the stuff you do. And most of my conversations were in the world of teaching and training new agents on how to interact and what to do and how to do things. And I would say that probably I was so deep in this world of what was happening in my life from being a broker owner and teacher, trainer, coach, all those things, that I forgot about kind of the professionals out in the marketplace. And I was in the middle of a transaction, and I don't remember what I said to this agent. If I sat down and thought about it long enough, I probably could remember, but I basically asked an agent on the other side of a transaction. It was like a $700,000 deal here in Utah, and a $700,000 deal, 11, 12 years ago, that was like selling like a $1.4 million deal now. It was good stuff. And I asked that agent to do something, or reminded him to do something, or basically made a request to him that was, I would call it a rookie move, I guess. Essentially asking him to do something that would only have to be asked of a new agent or someone that didn't understand. And I guess you could even say that my request to him was perhaps insulting in a way. Now, I certainly wasn't trying to be insulting, and I was probably future pacing, making sure that it was all done right. But bottom line was, the request I made probably made that agent feel like, hey, who do you think you are? Like, I know what I'm doing. And here's what's funny. That's almost exactly what he said to me when he responded. He said, Jeremy, thank you so much. This is not verbatim, but in close terms. Thank you for your suggestion. I will make sure that's done. I want you to know I am a professional real estate agent. I am committed to this job. This is what I do. I got it. Kind of in those terms of like, don't need you to remind me to, who knows what it was. Again, I'm telling you, it was a very minor thing that I requested. And we got along great through the transaction, but it was a moment there where I realized, like, that guy has something that I want. And what that was a commitment to the job of being a real estate agent. Now, let me expound upon that a little bit more. Early on in my career, and what I have learned over the years as I've worked with and coached and met and trained agents and stuff, there is a bit of a common thread that happens amongst us. And that common thread is that we are always thinking that real estate is the step that we're taking to get to the next point in our life. Like, oh yes, I'm going to do this after I've made it. And that agents are sometimes not committed to just being an agent. I'll say that again. Agents are not committed to being an agent. And how critical it is that you stop and go, hey, wait a minute. I am going to make a decision to be an incredible real estate agent. I'm going to make a decision to treat this like a job. I'm going to make a decision to provide excellent customer service, to understand loans and interest rates and how those things move and work and programs. I'm going to understand the housing market and trends and flows and ebbs and the market. And you know what I mean? Like, there was this element of it at that moment that I was a little envious of this guy, because I realized, again, he had something that I didn't have. And it was a commitment level that I've really been striving for ever since that time. I was working so hard to try to figure out, how do I not be a real estate agent anymore? And that's something that I see as just, it's constantly happening among agents. And so guys, today, what I want to talk about for just a few minutes as we look this over is just some thoughts about where you are right now. Here we are 3 weeks into the new year, which is hard to believe. And just saying a little bit of like, hey, how's it going? How's it going so far? How were the first 2.5 weeks of 2022 for you? Are you where you thought you'd be? Have you talked to the people that you were hoping to talk to? Have you set some appointments? How many deals do you have in your pipeline? Asking these types of questions allows you to put yourself in a position of reflection and realization of, again, just how's it going? And so today, I wrote down just a few things that I thought, what would be important for you to understand right now? What would be important for you to commit to right now? If this year is like most years, and if you're like most agents, so again, I'm going to say something right now. If it doesn't apply to you, don't be offended, because it's a general statement. If it does apply to you, don't be offended either. Just change. But usually, and this is worldwide, it's me, it's you, it's everyone, we get these goals, we set these things, and by the time we get to the end of January, we might be missing the mark a little bit. We might be behind the times on our goals, and we go like this. Well, there's always next year. Have you ever done that? Have you ever, in the first month of the year, not accomplished what you were hoping, or weren't on track, and then you went, oh, well, next year? I have. I've been there. I've done that. That's why I always think it's so important to remember that you can change your life on February 3rd just as easily as you can January 1st. So as you're looking through that, I wrote down a few thoughts today that I thought, well, what advice would I give someone who's here 3 weeks into the year, trying to ramp up, trying to have a great year? What would be important? And in the spirit of the opening story I told about this agent and my communication with them, I decided that number one would be this. Number one, make a commitment. Make a commitment. I've got it written down, or a decision. Make a decision to be a great agent and accept the responsibilities that come with that. So you're going to make a decision to be a great agent and accept the responsibilities that come with that. So think about that for a moment. Boy, it would be awesome if we were in a room right now and could talk about this, wouldn't it? What are the responsibilities that come along with that? Well, let's talk about it for just a second. You'd have to define for yourself. If you have a pen and a paper out, look, we're not going to do this on this phone call, but this is a great exercise for you to do. So if you have a pen and paper out, write down this question. What does it mean to me to be a great real estate agent? What does it mean to me to be a great agent? I'm not asking you what the results of all of it is. I'm actually asking like a definition for yourself. What is a great agent? Is it how they produce? Is it their professionalism? Is it their reputation? Is it their connections? Is it, just all of those things combined? What is it to you? What is it that defines a great agent? Think about the people that you might know. I mean, I know we all know them. Who do you know out there that you're thinking like, boy, I really admire this person? Think about it for just a moment. Fellow real estate agents, associates and stuff. Who out there do you look at and say, I really admire that person because of fill in the blank? What is it that you admire about them? And then to start to define and create this list of saying, here's what I believe a great real estate agent is. So that's question number one to ask yourself. What does it mean to be a great agent? And then the second question, okay, so you're moving along with that. So you've got, what does it mean to me to be a great agent? And then what do I have to do to become that person. Because that's step one, right? You have to decide you want to be a great agent, and then two, accept the responsibilities that come along with that. What are those responsibilities? What does that look like? Is it a schedule? Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a schedule. Is it a skill set? Absolutely. It's going to include a certain level of skills. What else is there? Yeah, it's who you are. Thank you, Rebecca. It's honesty, integrity, right? It's who you are, the way in which you behave and maneuver through the business, right? Okay, so that's step one. You've got to make a decision to be a great agent. Okay, and then step number two, make a commitment for a time frame. How long are you going to commit? How long are you going to commit to go on this journey? Now, look, it's silly in some ways to make it like, oh, it's 6 months, it's a year, it's 18 months. Look, we all know that greatness and striving for that, it's a lifelong thing. But just take a step back with me for just a moment, play ball with this idea of just, hey, what if you just said, I'm going to give it this next 12 months. I am going to strive to become who I just wrote down about what a great agent is. I am going to strive to become that person for the next 12 months. What would that look like? Could you do it? Are you expecting to still be selling real estate in 1 year from now? I imagine you are. What type of trainings will you be involved in? What type of activities should you be engaged in? You know, what are you committing to? And then third would be this, in my view. I wrote down, create a business plan and schedule for success. Create a business plan and schedule. So number one, you determine what does it look like to be an amazing agent? And what are the responsibilities that come along with that? So if you said, well, a great agent is, you know, and you have the integrity, the honesty, the production, the knowledge, the skill sets, the training, all of those things. So this is what a great agent looks like. If I have all of these things, here's the responsibility that it's going to be. I am going to commit to accomplishing that. Here's my plan for getting there. And we've been talking so much the last 6 weeks or so about business plans and all of those types of things. So yeah, you got to have your plan in place. You need to have that. And there's two fundamental things that I'm going to talk about today that I want you to consider including in your plan. Because if you don't have this set yet, it's one of the most important things that you can do. And it deals with two items that are very key. And those items are number one, prospecting, and number two, your schedule. And look, I know that we talk about those things all the time. I know you hear it. I know you get sick of hearing it, but they are fundamental to your success. If you want to commit to being a great agent, you have to be committed to the idea that I need to be constantly thinking about who I'm communicating with and when I'm doing it. And that's your schedule and that's your prospecting. And so as I look at this right now, I would challenge every single person to commit to 2 to 3 lead sources. 2 to 3 sources in which you're creating and generating leads. Again, if we were sitting in a room, we could spend some time talking about it. But look, if I said to you, what are all the different ways you could take a listing? What are all the different ways you could get a new buyer? You could be saying, well, there's my sphere of influence. There's web leads. There's Zillow. There's just listed. There's just sold. There's notice of defaults. There's for sale by owners. There's expireds. There's door knocking. There's networking. There's professional networking, right? The list goes on and on and on. There's so many opportunities out there for you. And so you have to ask yourself, well, what will your focus be? And a great agent doesn't focus on 15 different things. They're going to focus on 2, maybe 3 lead sources. So what are the lead sources that you're going to commit to? What are the 2 to 3 lead sources that you're going to become the master of? What would life look like for you if you were so committed to just working your SOI and for sale by owners? What would happen if your whole life was focused on my sphere of influence and web leads? Whatever it might be. I've said for years, I really don't care what it is. I only care that you're committed to it. Because what I found is when you commit, business comes to fruition. So, number one, committing to working 2 to 3 lead sources. And I'm not just talking about, okay, casually working them from time to time. I am saying that you are like, I am going to become the best prospector of web leads. That's what I did many years ago. Back in 2008, it was a fairly new, fresh thing. I learned about calling web leads, and I made a determination that I'm going to become good at it, and I did. And I feel like I became a master at it. I understood how to call someone, connect with them, get them committed, get them to sign a buyer broker agreement, help them make decisions on buying and all of that stuff. What is it that you're going to commit to? What's readily available? What is sitting at your fingertips available for you to become the master of? Figure that out and commit. One of those areas for everyone, in my opinion, with very, very little exception, is sphere of influence. And I've often said with the people who might be an exception, if you have a sphere of influence somewhere, right? You have an SOI somewhere. And so the question is this, why work them, right? It's not even a question, it's a statement. Work your sphere of influence wherever they are. I hear people say, oh, well, I just moved to California, or I just moved to Utah, so I don't know anybody. Well, what's cool is, number one, you've got family, friends, associates, coworkers, schoolmates, whatever, somewhere in this world that you moved from. You should be connecting and communicating with them and working, and you're going to earn dollars off of that. And then second is, it then becomes your opportunity to create and build and have a sphere of influence in the new area that you are. And we don't have time in this call to discuss that, but it's right there, ready at your fingertips. So create that SOI. So that's one lead source that I really believe everyone should be working. And so if we dove a little deeper into that, I'd be asking you questions like, cool, what's your strategy? How are you approaching your sphere of influence? What marketing are you sending them? How are you showing with them that you're a great agent? Back to question number one, what responsibilities do you have? Right? It's one of the affirmations we say every day. My SOI expects me to be their real estate expert. Are you their real estate expert? What does that look like to you? So figure out a game plan and approach. Here's what's cool. When you decide on 2, maybe 3 lead sources you're going to work, what that allows you to do is it allows you to dive really deep into that process. It allows you to dive so deep. When I'm sitting on the phone and working, and here's what's funny for me is I've done it all, guys. I've done the FSBOs, the expireds, the just listeds. I've done it all because I was a mess when I first started in this business, looking for what's the next best thing to prospect, and I did it all. And thankfully, I had success in every one of them. What I'm trying to tell you, though, is that you can dive deep into every single one of these lead sources to figure out how to become great at them. So deciding to be a great agent, accepting the responsibilities that come along with that, committing to a time frame that you're going to do it. And in my view, you say, I'm going to do it a year. I'm totally committed to becoming this person. And then creating your business plan and schedule, which includes in your plan who you're going to be communicating with. And you need to choose 2 to 3 prospecting sources that you're all in on, and allow your broker to know about that. Talk to your manager to know how that works and what that looks like. And then finally, of course, you're going to have a schedule attached to that. When are you working? When do you show up? What is your morning routine? When do you arrive at the office? When do you respond to emails? When are you prospecting? Save this for another day, but I always say the who, what, where, when, why of prospecting. If you can answer those questions, you're going to be 10 million times ahead of your competition. Who, what, where, when, why of prospecting. Answer those in your schedule. Who are you calling? When are you calling them? Where will you be when you're calling them? What are you saying to them? Think about that. And then, of course, you're going to have meeting time, scheduling time. And then, of course, recreation, family time, doing the stuff that also is important. What we're talking about here is balance. Because one thing I can tell you for sure that's on my list of what makes a great agent is having balance in their professional and personal lives. So agents, look, I know that's 3 things and dive a little deeper into each one of them, but a few quick thoughts this Monday morning on how to make your kind of a little bit of a launching pad for where you are in your business, wherever you are in your business right now. Make a decision to become a great agent. Define what that looks like to you and accept the responsibilities that come along with it. Commit to a time frame and make sure you have a business plan and schedule in place that will create your success. Guys, it's been awesome to spend a few minutes with you today. I hope you have a great Monday. Go make some calls, knock some doors, whatever it might be, talk to people, and set some appointments. Have an awesome day, guys. Thank you so much.